good evening. Let's take 1 minute, just ingather ourselves. We know how spread we are everywhere, how distracted. Just taking a few breaths with this beautiful mantra to just be fully present here. Invoking Mother's presence and grace, and aspiring and praying that it shows us a bit more than what we can already see, so that we can live more in peace and live. So the topic again, yet last time we had said there is no topic, and yet we found ourselves on topic of forgetfulness and remembrance. And where we left last time, it still felt incomplete. It still felt that, at least for me, that what is happening? What am I forgetting? What am I remembering? What do I need to forget? And what do I need to remember? There are so many things, so many, revelations, so many of our relative truths that we resonate with and would want to remember. And yet they're not there when I'm living. They are somewhere in my background. And when I close my eyes and I'm trying to focus, the 5 breath exercise that we do or other exercises, I see that how the world is waiting to come, just trying to, just take over. Why is that happening? And what am I giving importance to that I cannot give importance to what I want really? And I just get distracted. How did I reach here? So just thought we'll reflect on this a bit more. So as we have been doing in this session, the whole of, like if I look at this date, I think we started in January. So I think 3-4 sessions we have already done on this topic. Just closing our eyes. And now let's see, like it's not a challenge. It's just let me just focus on my breath for a few breaths, maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe 7. So when I take the in breath, I'll count 1. So it's incoming and outgoing. Then I'll count 2 in the next incoming and outgoing. So let's do either 3, 5, or 7, depending on what you want to do. And just see where the mind is or where it's not. Just let's do it. Thank you. You know, we have so many, and it's funny, but this thought came to me that we have so many conspiracy theories going on in the world, right? About why that airplane fell where it fell, what is that country doing, stuff. And yet, when I close my eyes and I see that the world, my world, is just waiting to attack me, right? Like if I say I want to focus on my breath, it's like, no, no, no. This, body, mind, senses, memory. So it feels like this also feels like a conspiracy that, that don't be where you want to be. And see, there's so many 10,000 things where we can take you. So don't be where you're going. So I wonder if what's in that and how does that work. And similarly, when again, we say this a lot, but when a child is born, there is a purity, there is a, like he has not been corrupted yet by the conditionings and definitions of the world. And yet it's like the whole world is, including myself, I'm doing it to my child, is conspiring that forget your innocence, forget your forgetfulness, forget your remembrance, forget your faith. Come see, there is a whole world waiting for you. So just sometimes this thought comes to me that if I have to study some conspiracy, might as well look within me. Yeah, any reflection? So again, the topic is remembrance and forgetfulness. Anything that, we have been doing it for quite a few weeks. What am I remembering and what am I forgetting and why? Any insights, anything that if you had the chance to sit with it, anything that came to you?
Yeah, so since in the other session which we are doing with with the reading the heroic art of Jetsunma, so I am trying to remember the chapters which we are covering these days, remembering about how precious the human birth is, and that life can go at any moment. So this kind of humbles me.
Yeah.
But we keep forgetting that too. I mean, it has to be reminded again and again and again. I think everything somehow comes back to awareness, like how conscious we are at every moment. So if we can keep bringing that awareness back, then it is good. But sometimes we get so engrossed in the daily grind, in the grudges, in the responsibilities, that that awareness is something which we lack, just running with closed eyes, blindfolded. Yeah.
It's like, around me, there are just appearances and appearances and appearances, right? Like, and especially now, with the way things are, there's just everything available anytime, right? A click of a button, phone, screens. I can be anywhere I want to. I mean, the list of distractions, not that we need a list, we are so easily distracted. There's so much. It's like I see things, my eyes see things, I perceive them, the mind kind of gives them some level of importance, right? That, okay, this is good, this is bad, this has to be remembered, this is really important. And it just, I just keep getting new and new and new important things in my life. And I just, it's like the intellectual things, they take precedence over the wise things, maybe. Like my everyday life takes precedence over my existence. Like, why am I here is forgotten, but what do I do today is right now the foremost, right? So that's why we keep remembering or wanting to say that look at the center of your operation, look at your intention, why are you doing something, what is your aim? So all these pointers are so that we can look through those appearances which are created by, say, memory and our intellect mostly, right? That so that we can remember what is important and what I am involved with every day, and yet I cannot give it importance that much because it's not important really, but it appears to be important. So, just how they say that desire never comes dressed as desire. It never says कि हाँ हाँ मैं तो एक desire हूँ, देखना तुम्हें नचा के जाऊंगा, right? It comes dressed up as a promise, right? As a fulfillment, as कि मुझे कुछ और बना देगा ये. Similarly, these things that we are engrossed with, they also have a promise, right? That they are taking us somewhere, making us, giving us respect and acceptance or whatever. So just, and what you were saying about awareness, when is aware, maybe one can catch, this disguises. Because if I look at myself, if I'm giving importance to that which my intellect is saying, my intelligence is saying is important, I am forgetting that which, the existence gives importance to. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, Taru, that is quite relatable what you said. The daily life activities sometimes takes over and we forget our existence over our daily life problems or something we consider as very important. That is quite a temporary thing.
Yeah, and the thing is that when we are using these things, we are using the words like sometimes, right? Like Ritu also said sometimes, you also said sometimes. But the truth is that we are not forgetting them sometimes, we are forgetting them all the time. It's just a little bit here and there, something happens, something we see, we get reminded. But that's what it is. I am not remembering what I should remember, and I am forgetting a lot of things I shouldn't forget, and vice versa. So I know it's just going a little bit here and there. So why don't we do this? Why don't we, for our own self, right? We feel certain things are important and we feel certain things are not. But maybe we can just take, a pause, a silence of maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and let's make a list of things that we would like to remember. Like, I'll just make it here, you can tell me. If I had to remember something, remind myself one thing, two thing, three thing, 10 things that I would want to live by every moment, or I want to keep going back to it, which I forget, so that it just helps me in knowing, because a lot of times I don't even acknowledge it to myself, that what is it that I should remember, I would like to remember. So let's just take 2 minutes. If closing the eyes helps, let's close our eyes and just see what I would want to remember. So whenever we are ready, if anything comes to me, we can just share and so that we can just write it, and maybe that would help in further strengthening. At least I would acknowledge it formally that I would want to remember this. For me, it helps that, like, I at least say that I don't know the truth, but I do know a lot of faults in me, right? So if I cannot remember the truth, if I can just see faults as faults, that too, really helps me. Yes, Vipin.
Yeah, so what I try to remember, but I keep forgetting when I'm in situations, is to just look at situation from a little distance, like as a witness. But every time I get so involved in it that I forget looking at it from a distance, because the moment I try and distance myself from it, I see things differently.
Mm.
They don't bother me so much. But when I get so involved in it, then it kind of spoils my peace of mind and become restless.
So if you could do one thing, you would want to remember to be a witness to things
Yeah,
so that there is some healthy detachment, there's a healthy distance, so that you can see things for what they are and not get lost in the story, right?
it's right.
Mhm.
But when we start seeing things as story, everything looks like a story only. I mean, everything, even the thoughts which we are lost in most of the time are stories. Even the thoughts which we are thinking about the future are stories. Even the way we sympathize with ourselves are stories. Even when what we think negatively about others are stories. So it's all stories. So
It's like there's a person who's acting in a play, and this is a very common example, right? It's like used, especially in the Vedantic sense, that a theater person is saying that, when I am on theater, everything is a story. And he's surprised, right? And a person looking at him from the viewing gallery would be like, why are you surprised when you are in a play and it
yeah,
is a story, right? So it keeps surprising us. But, once, I don't know, I don't remember who it was. I think Ajahn Chah or some, there was this beautiful book. And he said that, whenever I get here and there and here and there, I always, firstly say, to the ego that, oh, you have done enough now. Now I know how you work. I will not get fooled this time. And the second thing he said was, but is it all not a dream anyway? Right? Say something very overwhelming is happening. And there's just this thought that comes, not a thought really, it's a fact of my existence. They say that really in Vedanta, they stress on it very strongly that like we wake up from a dream and say that, oh, it was just a dream. Exactly like this, we will wake up from, this body, this role, and we'll be like, oh, it was just another experience that I was gathering, right? So they say the similar, oh, it and the importance of it just drops. Like while I'm dreaming, I'm fanatic and I'm running and I am, like maybe sometimes crying. Sometimes we cry that we wake up, right, shouting, right? This has happened to us. And just like that, we are living this life. And it said that when we wake up, it's like, oh, it wasn't real. You're saying it right that everything appears to be a play. And yet it is a play. It is a play, but I cannot believe that, because then I will not be able to live the way I am living. What is important to me? And I feel the Corona times also really were a big eye openers. Like I remember in my complex, the one thing people were very, kind of feisty about was like allowing people to go for walks downstairs, like don't let them shut down in the apartment. And one agenda which everybody was fighting for was newspapers. Like they had banned newspapers because they thought who's touching, right? Like I'm talking about the initial, when they didn't know how it was spreading. So there was such a hue and cry that I cannot start my day without a newspaper. And that's real, right? Like for everybody, we have our things which we cannot do without. And yet, when I see what is the newspaper actually doing, what is it telling me, what is it talking about? And here I'm fighting and shouting and screaming that allow newspapers in the complex, that I cannot live without that. And for each of us, we will have one newspaper or something that we are holding on to. But when I'm giving importance to this, because I right now am limited, I cannot give importance to what really is, right? That's why it's like, there's just glitter, 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 that we forget that, but I am gold, right? I don't need glitter, or at least let me see glitter as glitter and not think that this is real gold and it will give me something or it will take me somewhere. So just that shift, if it happens, I feel that would again be a very big step in me not running after the things that don't take me anywhere. ये करना है, ये करना है, ये करना है, ये करना है, कर पहुँच गए हो, तो फिर हम अंदर देख रहे हो कि अच्छा अब खुश हो, तो नहीं, 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 अब तो वो करना है, अब तो वो करना है, वो करना है, मतलब दैट्स हाउ वी डू, राइट? लाइक जब तक नहीं है तब तक आई हैव दैट थिंग, एंड एज सून एज आई गेट इट, दिस हार्डली एनी relief. It's like there was, it was snowing outside, and we had kept the child's cycle inside, and there's hardly any room. It's a very small place anyway. And every time it would bother me. I'd be like, अरे इसको store में रख दो, storage में रख दो, storage में रख दो, या balcony पे रख दो, because it's like it would interfere. And whenever, small shows, and then one day, I don't know, somebody kept it somewhere like in the balcony, and next morning when I woke up, I was like, oh, this space looks pretty big today. Like it didn't even, I was like, it took me 2 minutes to realize that it has been cleared. There was a cycle that is now not there. So all I was trying to say was that till the cycle was there, it would bother me 20 times a day. But if it's not there, I would not be like, oh, wow, see, somebody has shifted the cycle. I just took it like, oh, this space looks empty. And I was just walking. And then it struck me that, oh my God, oh my God, the cycle has been shifted. So just that I look at the lack always. I look at what I don't have. I look at what I want to do. But when things are given, when things actually happen, I must see that they don't carry that much weight that I thought they would carry. Right? Every time without fail, tell me one thing that you wanted to do, and when that was done, you remember it and you're grateful for it every day or every moment. Tell me one thing. Yes, yeah, we can just continue with this. If we can share, if anything, to anybody else, if anything they would want to remember. Ritu, we can even go a little bit further in this. Say, this is a situation, right, that I forget to be a witness. So again, if we just close our eyes, we all have those slippery slopes that we slip down, right? That when we want balance and when we lose it, when we are not able to be the witness. So closing our eyes, remembering one thing, one situation, one person, one place where I always slip. So just imagining the whole scenario, how it happened. So the last time it happened, something happened and I got triggered and I was unable to see I was a witness and I became a full character and did whatever I didn't want to do. How is it working? What happens? How is it that I'm okay? Some trigger comes and I lose it. What do we see? Is there something we see when I'm thinking about this?
Yeah, I will. It's very clear in my mind since it happened recently. Saturday mornings we go to a garden together, the entire family. Like my parents come from their house, and I go from my place, and my sister comes from her place. So I don't know why. A lot of times, what happens is that I go more regularly, and my sister comes once in a while. So whenever my sister comes, the elder one, so whenever she comes, she's extra welcome because she comes not very often, but once in a while. So I somehow do not really kind of appreciate this thing about my parents. That since I am there with them all the time, they don't value me. But whenever she comes, then everybody's like, oh, what are you gonna have? What should we order? Let's wait for her. Let's wait for her. She's coming. So was this bothered me last time, and then I mean everything was we waited for her for an hour, and when she came we again ordered everything for her for breakfast, although we had already had it. So I just stood up and I went for a walk, leaving them there, that okay, let them um, host her well. So so when I went for a walk, and I was just sitting, I sat down thinking that it is bothering me so much. But if I look at it, that father, mom and dad, they're happy to see their elder daughter who's come, and they want to treat her well by ordering more food. So what's wrong in that? So then it kind of did strike me that yes, because I was getting too involved कि मेरे को नहीं पूछा या मेरे को ऐसे है, because I am taking myself as me, Ritu, that I was, my ego was so strong at that time that how can they do this to me? But when I looked at it as from a distance, uh, it I found it quite normal and nothing that I should be bothered about. Then I mean situations like some so into them that you don't see the bigger picture, that hardly anything. I mean, for me to be bothered about.
So basically, I go anytime anything is happening, I go and sit on top of it seems, right? कि मेरे relative ये क्या हो रहा है ना कि अगर if we look at this situation that you gave, that parents are happy to see their daughter, right? And the second child is right now not in the picture, right? One parent is happy to see a child. So in this, when I am jumping in and saying, but me, I'm just being where I don't need to be. And I'm sure that if we, reflect on this and we would all have those incidences when, say, I have a grudge against somebody and I would say, and they were like that, oh my God, I wasn't there at all, right? It wasn't about you. It was just that this was the situation, or I was thinking about that, or I was worried about this. It wasn't what you think it was. So, ek to this thing that you have caught, I think it's excellent that wherever I butt my nose where I don't need to be, it is a cause of my suffering and pain, right? In this whole situation, nobody had any issues except the one who butted in and who said, right? And we all have our learnings. Like, I had often shared that how, my in-law side of the family, they are very focused on food. And it was all about just food, food, food. And it used to really bother me. And then one day I realized that a mother, exactly what you said, a mother is wanting to feed a grandchild or a mother is wanting to feed her child. So, मुल्ला की शादी में what is that? कौन दीवाना मतलब जो एक होता है ना
अब्दुल्ला की नहीं, किसी की शादी में अब्दुल दीवाना।
अब्दुल्ला दीवाना
बेगानी शादी में
हाँ
अब्दुल्ला दीवाना.
Yes, thank you so much. So yeah, began. So exactly one day when I could see that, क्या है ऐसा क्यों करते हैं क्या है ये कब खत्म होगा suddenly it dawned on me this not even knowing the words really as in it's somebody else's affairs, it's somebody else's celebration, it's somebody else's agenda. Why I am going in there? Okay, why do I have a say in that? Why do I have a say in everything? Can I not just keep my focus to myself? And I tell you that memory, I mean, after that, I had to leave for the factory. I had a whole hour's drive to myself once that dawned. So though I can remember each and everything that passed to me. And suddenly, I got in the car really angry. And I came out of the car in an hour's time, like absent, as if a huge load had been lifted from my head. That now I get it. Oh my God, what have I been doing? Like when I went in the car, it was like that. Why are people crazy? Why are they so obsessed? It was all about what, da, 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 da. And when I came out, it was like, oh, it was me. Oh, thank God, everything is fine. And now I don't have to be that divana anymore, right? And that was it. Like that was the moment, and this is the moment that it doesn't. And at any time, if I ever am about to get triggered, which happens at times, right? Like suddenly somebody says something, they presses a thing, and suddenly this thing comes. Ke, it's not your, wedding, or this is not where you need to be. You be wherever you want to be. तो वही जो मैं चला जाता हूँ और बैठ जाता हूँ जहाँ मुझे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, that is a cause of a lot of suffering. And if I remember this, if whenever that situation comes, it helps for me to stand back, stand back, stand back. Again, ये witnessing हो गई ना, कह रहे मेरी तो यहाँ पे involvement है ही नहीं, मेरी यहाँ पे opinions की, comments की बात है ही नहीं. Giving ourselves, yeah, खैर, I think that's not good. This is enough. Yes, should we move on, or would anybody like to reflect on? Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Um, when we were discussing this, the things I want to remember is to remember how fortunate life has been, you know, to how lucky the experiences that I've gotten and the things I've learned, the kind of tools I've gathered to, to use for a similar or even a better purpose in the future, and to forget the kind of excitement or the kind of aggression I build up during situations that make me, lose these tools temporarily, like albeit temporarily, and not channel them in the right direction. And also, I want to forget the feeling that I always know everything in every discussion. I want to be a student who is just desperate to understand, who is just desperate to learn, and not someone that always wants to contribute to every topic. even though he has little knowledge, or whatever knowledge he has. Because what happens is that kind of closes a certain a certain range of information that otherwise he could have I could have been exposed to. And the most important thing I want to really lose is the feeling of attachment. That attachment has been, like, it has been good to an extent, but there is more bad with attachment that I've experienced versus good. Because you know being in a relationship, or being in a job, or being in a group of friends, or being in a place trying to move out, there is always this emotional barrier that I had to overcome. And sometimes I had to force myself. But again, the process was never easy. And um, 8 out of 10 times I would succumb to that feeling, and I would still stay in where I was, instead of moving ahead and taking risks, and using the tools I've gathered. So yes, attachment is one of the biggest things I really want to forget. So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, Jagan, let's make it simpler, right? Let's make it less complicated. So now you have given the explanation, right? That why and what and stuff. Forget the explanations. You are just telling me very shortly, again, tell me your list without the stories or the past, so that it can be very straightforward.
To remember, to remember to be thankful at every single time, and to forget the attachment.
When you say attachment, as in again ये फिर वही witnessing हो गया ना कि I get too attached, right? But if I am able to step back, I'll be able to live better. Is that the same thing, or this is a different thing? I'm sorry, I told you not to give explanations. And
No, 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 ma'am. So affection is one thing, and attachment is another. Even I was talking to you about this post that Monica ma'am shared, right? So attachment has not really helped me, because it is only pulling me back. So yeah, to forget attachment, and to forget that feeling that I know all. Yeah.
you know how we say that keep yourself empty, right? Remember to be a student. And student, you just forget. I know. Oh,
Can I add one more thing, ma'am? So to be able to take a no from the loved ones.
mm.
That is all. Thank you.
So just Gagan, sorry, sir, reflecting on this for a minute together, that when am I not in gratefulness, right?
Yes.
When I'm identifying more with the lack, right? Then I will not be grateful that I need more, right? I deserve more, I want more. And when I'm not looking at what I already have, that is when that happens. One thing that would be the base, right? So there's this I, right? I deserve, I want, I demand, I should. Then I want to be a student. You want to be a student because you said you want to keep learning, right? But there's somebody in you, someone in you who wants to prove that मुझे तो पता है, let me tell you, let me have the last word, right? So again, there is this me who's wanting to have a last word. First, it was me who would want more things. Then this is also want to have a last word. And this learn to accept the no, right? कि मुझे कैसे ना बोल सकते हैं. उसमें भी एक मैं खड़ा है ना? तो कह रहा है कि अरे बट मेरे को कैसे, right? So again, or you have attachment, maybe obviously I am getting attached, right? The I, the little me, the little me, the little me. So इस सबका जो एक root है, kind of all the things that you're pointing, and that would be true for I think all the situations, not rocket science है. If I can just keep remembering, because sometimes remembering 4-5 things together would be tough, but if I can just remember that who gets up and creates a ruckus, right? Me, the little me who really, because see, agar, if there's somebody who's stable in himself, say अगर एक कबीर बैठे हैं या एक नानक बैठे हैं या कोई बैठे, उनको हम बोले कि अरे आपको तो कुछ नहीं पता, आप जाओ, or whatever, you know nothing. How will they react? They most probably, I think, if they react, either they will not, or if they react, I'm just guessing it, they'll be saying, हाँ हाँ कुछ नहीं पता, you're right. क्या पता है मुझे, बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं पता, right? बट कोई मुझे बोले कि तुम्हें कुछ नहीं पता, मैं बोलूंगी आओ फिर, we'll see किसको कितना पता है, right? So the truth is that the one who knows doesn't need to prove that to the world that I know, right? And the one who knows limited will want to stand up and fight कि I know, how dare you, right? तो यहीं पे ही कुछ दिखता है कि नहीं पता है, तभी बहुत ढिंढोरा पीट के I want to say ये पता है, right? So every time I am attaching, every time I am being the little me, my little family, my wants, my desires, my goals, limited, I must remember that I am forgetting who I am, right? I am choosing to relate and accept my littleness while forgetting my immensity. Yes, please.
Like to always have the last word, even when even when even when I know a lot about the topic, I still want to hold back. The reason is every situation, every problem I see that every challenge has more than one way to address it, right? So I know one way, but if I don't keep an open mind and keep my ears open more than my mouth, then how will I know the other ways? And maybe the other way may be more efficient. So, um, ma'am, I always tell myself when I go into a group setup that, okay, listen more this time, speak less, and listen more, observe what they're saying, and then I go there, and it's in a snap, I start talking. As soon as I'm given a question, I'm talking and talking and talking, and even when they are talking, I'm talking within me, so I'm not even listening at all. So I've been able to control it a bit, but still that's something I want to forget.
Yeah. Yeah, good observation that I'm talking within me even if I'm quiet. Yeah. So, For me, it's almost like a mantra. It's almost like, I don't know, an indication that whenever something seems big, I just quieted and I ask myself, if this is becoming so big, what am I forgetting? Right? Like whenever I mean, there's some incidents, I think I had shared them before, but just they're coming to me that when I was moving to, Canada, I had to put my house on rent. And I thought it would take, probably 1.5 months. People would come, they'll look at it and stuff. That's the usual time, 3 to 4 weeks. And the first person kind of who came, liked it, and we kind of were just finalizing everything right there and then. The first evening, the house was open for showing. And I remember they had asked for something, so I had come into, like, they were sitting in the drawing room, the living room, and I had come into the bedroom to fetch something. And suddenly I saw myself getting very, like overly excited about it, right? Oh my God, wow, it's happening just the first day and stuff. And I could see myself so kind of excited. And suddenly a voice came that, like, say, right now things are going as per what you liked and you're so excited, and the same person, the same thing can be your biggest cause of worry tomorrow if something goes wrong, right? So I'm not saying that that's a way how cheese go negative dekho, but the same thing causes joy, the same thing causes pain and suffering. So while I am going too much into pain and suffering, if I can remember that yesterday this was what gave me joy, and while when I'm going into extreme celebratory mode, if I can be prompted to remember that, wo apne mein there is nothing, right? If things are working for me, the thing could be the same, the person can be the same, the situation can be the same. But if it's supposedly working for me, I am going into ecstasy. If it's not working against, if it's going against me, I can get into depression. So can I not see that? So it just took one, that thought that came and said, "Okay, tomorrow you could be crying for the same tenant that right now you are so happy about. So thamo, as in, "Okay, what are you doing? Hold on, what is happening?" So it's just, I'm saying that these things somehow, if we can remember while we are about to lose it, it's really helps one in not making things bigger than they are so that we can remember what is truly big. So this mantra that I was just saying, that whenever something becomes important, too important, if something seems, I just stop and I just said that, okay, am I forgetting something? Right? And then, yes, and instantly, most of the time, the stillness comes back that, yes, it's just the outer happening. It's just this. You can see the whole course of the thing. Because what excites me, right, when you talk to people, what is the cause? What is the cause of excitement? A 2% or maybe a 5% salary hike? I don't know, a baby being born. I know, I mean, they do sound big things, but what do they really feel excited about? A 3-day weekend, a good weather, है ना? मतलब उसमें इतना हम खुश, और उतना ही फिर छोटी 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 चीजों पे वी गो अप एंड डाउन कि मैं किस चीज पे एक्साइट हो रही हूँ, किस चीज पे काइंड ऑफ बेच रही हूँ खुद को, और रिएक्ट, this up and down, up and down, up and down. So just that I am so occupied with, again, nothing new, with the small things which I think, which I am conditioned to believe are a must in life, like that newspaper example I was sharing. I forget who I am, what I am made up of, and that, I am being taken care of. These things that in the big picture I believe. And yet, when in my everyday I keep forgetting them, that's why I say that, oh, why does this happen to me, or why am I not changing? Yes, Shaban.
Yes, ma'am, when you were talking, no, I realized that um, excitement also leads to attachment. At least in my case, like you're talking about the 3 day weekend, really excited for 3 day weekend, but Sunday night, I'm sorry, Monday night, attachment ban jati hai 3 dinon ke sath. Even though I know it's gonna come back at some point, attachment ban ke then that Monday thing happens on after the weekend. Oh God, today it's Monday, because attached to it. So I think the excitement that I build up to a situation or to a person towards a person is also a cause. That's kind of a realization during this conversation.
So it's almost an hour. There was a small video I'd seen of Acharya Prashant. It was very small one. I just share it if you.
Tarup can't hear him.
I don't know what's the issue. Why do I have to keep redoing this? It never used to happen. Can you hear now?
Uh,
Has there ever been a new mistake? How funny. That which piques you today, is it not the same thing that brought you down 5 years back? Well, the names, forms change, faces change, situations change. Has the tendency changed? The place where you fell, the time of the fall, the apparent reason of the fall, all these have changed. But has the tendency to fall changed? That's the thing with tendency. It's almost like playing an open hand. Such a confident player is she. She does not hide her cards. She says, here, this is what I have, this is what I have, this is what I have. No. And you will still lose. You very well know how we are. And we still trust ourselves. We are still confident of ourselves. Remember. That's the advice. Remember. Not God. Remember her. God is not an object to be remembered. It's foolish to remember God. Remembrance of Maya is what is meant by remembering God. God is not an object to be remembered. God is remembrance itself. If you can constantly remember how foolish you are, that's godliness.
Yeah, it was a bit funny the way the dramatization was done, and that's how his videos are these days. But just focusing on the words, that if I cannot remember who I truly am, like say the Vedas say Aham Brahmasmi, and stuff, they are not my truth right now, right? So if I try to remember them, something in me does not buy that. They don't believe it because I'm not living it. It's not my truth. But I am being an idiot every day. I do stumble again and again on the same things every day. There are issues that 20, 25 years I've been kind of having the same issue with the same person. There are things I know they are not good for me, and yet I don't have the courage to stand up and walk away or give them up. So, the thing that he said, that even the cards are open. It's not कि हमें पता नहीं चलता कि हम इधर ही जाके फिसलते हैं. बार बार वहीं जाते हैं और वहीं फिसलते हैं. ना फिसलने से रोक पाते हैं, ना जाने से रोक पाते हैं खुद को. बट अगर आप ये देखने लग पड़े कि अरे वहां जाके ही मैं वहां जाते ही फिसलता हूँ और फिर भी जाता हूँ, फिर भी जाता हूँ, फिर भी जाता हूँ, दैट ऑल्सो हेल्प्स मी इन नोइंग कि चल क्या रहा है. बिकॉज इफ आई डू दैट, देन आई कैन नॉट टेल माई सेल्फ आई एम वेरी इंटेलिजेंट. Then I can see that there are forces bigger than me which always take me there, and they are like my slippery slopes. So at least that jagriti, that awakening that this is how I'm doing, that I am aware that I am not able to step back. I am aware now, and I would want to step back more. Just this aspiration, this want also takes us a long way. I see that I want to have the last word. I see I want to prove I am so much more. I किसको प्रूव कर रहा हूँ? मतलब कर तो एक बेवकूफ दूसरे बेवकूफों को ही प्रूव कर रहा है कि देखो मैं सबसे इंटेलिजेंट बेवकूफ हूँ. Not obviously Jagan talking about you, talking about all of us. So please don't take it personally. But it's funny. What am I proving and who am I proving these things to, right? And yet, when I am next time standing and proving something, if a voice can just tell me, who are you proving to and what? There is something that shifts, right? Like maybe I would still do it for 50 more times, which is okay. But maybe the 51st time I would maybe try to stop myself. Yeah, किसको prove करना है? Right times. ना तो मतलब just remembering the things that I am doing, just acknowledging them would also help me in giving up what I need to give, in picking up what I need to pick, and right, like just so that life can be more sorted, right? So that at least the dramas that I can see I am creating around myself, all the dramas I am creating, although I blame outside and circumstances, so at least जितने दिख रहे हैं उनको I can साधो, right? उनको I can just give up some, accept some, transcend some. So just living in that honesty and that sincerity can help me and is kind of a prerequisite. अगर मुझे कुछ change ही नहीं करना है honestly, तो मैं यहाँ पे क्यों आता हूँ? Like why am I here? Why am I at a position where I say I want to change? And if I have to change, I have to stand against that tendencies, right? I have to stand against my own self, even if it takes, like, not saying it's instant, right? But अगर उतर नहीं रहा है, तो फिर धीरे 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 दिस एक्नॉलेजमेंट कि अरे उतर ही नहीं रहा, बट देखो ये फिर आ गया, जस्ट नोइंग that this is how it operates. And I mean, that was good. The cards are also visible. I can look at my tendencies. I can look at, where I fall, and I can transcend or walk away from where I know it's not serving me. Yes, Ritu.
Always remembering that I'm foolish. How is that possible? I mean, sometimes if like we are living in a world surrounded with people doing our jobs. So if I keep thinking that I am foolish and I don't know, then I'll be like, it's gonna be difficult to survive.
Yeah, this
Or
is
this is
what
something
we
for my own
think.
self. Yeah. Or this is something for my own self and not to be shown to others. I mean, to others, I shouldn't say that I'm foolish, but to me, I know that I'm foolish. But to the others, I wear a veil over myself, pretending that I know. But within me, I know that I don't know. Maybe kya ho gaya? I know that I don't know. That means I don't even know that I don't know. So,
See, in worldly ways, we can do whatever we want to, right? Like these are small games. Like अगर बच्चे के साथ खेलने वो लूडो खेले, चेस खेले, सांप सीढ़ी खेले, it's all the same, right? But I know that it's a game when I'm playing with him, right? I don't say कि अरे अरे ये तो बेवकूफों की बातें हैं, अरे अरे, you know. But when I'm playing, I'm like, no, I'll win. See, I'll get the next six, right? Because that's excitement. I'm playing a game. But I know I'm playing a game with my child, right? I know कि जीतने या उससे मुझे कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, right? And yet, when I'm giving you this example, you are like, oh yes, you're being so obvious, right? You're playing a game with your child. What else will you feel? But this is my life, right? So when how we started that, is it all not a dream anyways? But the next time when I'm doing something, you know, maybe I'm making an investment in a house and I have made like 10 investments before. Some have served me, some they have not. And yet, based on my judgment and whatever research I have done, I have to. Like something in me just goes haywire, right? Yeah, again, I have done this and seems like a matter of life and death and stuff. And yet, my life is an example that it doesn't work that way. You know, it's just something when it's happening, it seems really big and it's nothing. So, just remembering that इतनी importance है नहीं जितनी मैं दे रही हूँ. It just keeps me more sorted, right? It keeps me more grounded. जैसे अब कुछ लोग हैं जो गेम को भी गेम की तरह नहीं ले पाते हैं, राइट? इतनी लड़ाइयां हो जाती हैं गेम्स में, मतलब रिश्ते टूट जाते हैं सीरियसली, राइट? लाइक वी हैव हर्ड ऑफ दोस इंसिडेंट्स. And then when you hear, where at a witness you see, you say, oh my God, like, are we really that stupid? And the answer is yes, we are. तो ये भी वैसी ही गेम है जैसे मैं एक बच्चे के साथ में सांप एंड सीढ़ी खेल रही हूँ. एक सीढ़ी से ऊपर चढ़ गई, एक सांप से नीचे आ गई, एंड इट्स जस्ट अ गेम. And remembering, you know, that after the game is over, the king and the pawn go back to the same box, right? ये चेस खेलने के बाद में एक किंग भी उसी डब्बे में जाता है और एक पॉन भी उसी डब्बे में जाता है. जस्ट रिमेम्बरिंग दैट, दैट्स इट. तो किसी को दिखाना नहीं है, किसी को बताना नहीं है, ये तो फैक्ट है जो बस अपने आप को याद दिलाना है कि खेल ही तो है. Something good happens, I'm very happy, ecstatic. Something bad happens, I just fall into pieces. But if I am with myself, remembering, centered, seeing कि all this is nothing but a dream, reminding myself, तो फिर वो एक थोड़ी सी ना वो, ओ माय गॉड मैं मर गई, या ओ माय गॉड ये मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है, अरे मेरी जिंदगी ऐसे ऐसे, तो वो थोड़े से जो मेरे ही सेल्फ क्रिएटेड ड्रामाज हैं, विच आई डोंट लाइक टू यूज दैट वर्ड बिकॉज फिर तो मेरा ही इमोशंस पे हिट हो रहा है, बट है तो भाई. तो उन पे थोड़ी उनकी पकड़ मेरे ऊपर कम हो जाती है. आई सी थिंग्स फॉर व्हाट दे आर. But that doesn't mean I am not excited. That doesn't mean I'm not reacting. I'm not participating. I am fully there, but knowing, oh, it's just a game of chess. It's just a game of snakes and ladder. So just that. I don't know if that helps in answering the question. Okay, I think we'll end here today and most likely we'll take a new topic now next time. So thank you for being a part of this remembering and offering, and urging us all to just see again कि what am I occupied, right? मेरा time कहाँ जाता है in my everyday, and giving more time to things maybe even starting with 5 minutes, things that matter to me, the things that I would want to become. I will have to remember them, give them importance for them to get into my life, come into me. So just with this prayer that, may I remember what I should remember, not just as this role, not just as this body, remembering my existential truths. And may I able to see the pettiness of a lot of things which, are dancing on my head and are making me dance on their tunes. So thanking Mother, thanking Grace for this opportunity to see more or reflect together. Maybe this would open something more for me to live light, praying that may we all be well and happy and at peace, truly well, truly happy, and truly at peace. Thank you.
Thank you.